I'm David. I've well over a decade of experience in the tech sector, ranging everything from the National Health Service to global weather forecasting startup to a FCA-regulated crowdfunding platform. I think for me, when crowdfunding really came to the forefront was with the reward-based platforms such as Kickstarter. But a real turning point, I think, was when Crowdcube actually took equity-based crowdfunding to the market and made this an option for people that was an opportunity when small businesses were really struggling to actually gain any funding from banks. And that also coincided with interest rates actually going down, so people weren't getting any money on their savings. So it was a real opportune moment for people to actually use their money for themselves and to also help businesses at the same time. I think there's been huge changes in legislation that have not only helped the businesses but helped the whole crowdfunding platform and industry as well. I think the fact that the government have actually started getting behind this now and significant tax incentives has been a huge thing for the entire industry, and it's really legitimized exactly what everybody's trying to do. Another real area where the public have become aware is shows like The Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, which I think has given a real insight into what that kind of idea of a VC market looks like and allows the public to get a real sense of what they can actually do and how they can get involved. All of a sudden, they're not just watching a TV show and thinking that's a business that I'd like to be involved in. That opportunity is actually very, very real now. People can go out and actually become part of the whole ecosystem and not only support a company or a project that they believe in, but they can also actually make some form of financial return on it as well. I think it's always been very, very difficult with such a fast-moving industry and it's so nascent and so young that the legislation's always kind of been catching up with what the industry is actually trying to achieve. So it's constantly come up against barriers where governments have not been sure that this is actually possible, whereas it's actually happening. It's something that's very, very real and they've had to take notice of. So there's been a level of trust that has been instilled now that wasn't there previously. So it seems to be much more accepted, not only from the public, but I think the government is seeing this as a very legitimate way of people funding businesses now. I think there are definite areas of restriction around locations. So even using currency and conversion rates has always been very, very difficult. But not only that, it's the infrastructure that you need to set up a crowdfunding platform in a certain country. And I think by making something truly global, that's going to break down those barriers and actually make this a platform that can push this out to developing countries that have got no chance of building all of this infrastructure that we have got in being regarded as a more developed market. Customer service and communication to me are the main points of everything. It's very easy when you are running a small business, especially when you're going through that fundraising stage, to actually forget about how to communicate with the people that are investing with you. And when you're receiving VC investment, it's a very different case because they are working alongside you. But when it's crowdfunded investors, you're very much removed from them. So at Crowdcube, we made sure that it was always very, very much at the forefront that the businesses would communicate with the investors as much as the platform would invest with them as well. The people that have believed in your products are your greatest advocates going forward. These are your ambassadors that, you're talking about having thousands of people that have invested in you and believe in your product. And keeping them well informed is definitely one of the key things I think that needs to be appreciated when actually running one of these campaigns. And the customer service from a platform perspective as well, to actually make sure that not only are you looking after the businesses, you are looking after the investors as well. This is the ecosystem, this is the community that you're building up, and it's your responsibility to make sure that they are actually your key idea in everything that you do. I think this most definitely sort of applies very, very much directly to everyone. With such a globally distributed customer base and investor base, it's going to be even more important to make sure that this communication is kept up to date. If you live in the country where the business that you're supporting is based, the chances are you're going to see the media and you're going to see the marketing that's actually being generated around that product or that business. But if you're in a different country, you might not have the same exposure to that. So we're going to have to work very, very hard to make sure that we are keeping all of the stakeholders very much in the loop of everything, aware of how the project's going, and then, you know, being able to keep them very, very much up to date and involved in the entire project lifecycle. The two biggest concerns from my opinion as we're actually going forward, everything that we start off is going to be security and scalability. So security has got to be baked into the platform from day one. This is not something that we can look at later on, and I know that it's something that's been considered incredibly seriously ever since the idea was conceived with Acorn. Scalability is a very interesting problem in crowdfunding. You don't know when the traffic is going to increase because you're not in control of the marketing efforts that your businesses are actually putting in. So you're suddenly going to receive very, very high spikes in traffic that you weren't expecting. So the platform has to be scalable and elastic enough to actually absorb all of these spikes and increases, but at the same time keeping it cost effective and not over provisioning the architecture that we build. I'd like to see Acorn provide the opportunities that I've seen crowdfunding provide outside of Europe. I'd like to see this be a global opportunity for people. There are so many thousands of people all over the world that have got fantastic ideas that could really benefit from crowdfunding, but they just haven't got the availability of the platforms to get these ideas off the ground. It isn't just the initial business owner that actually benefits from all of these opportunities. It's the people that they employ. It's the other service industries that start to spin up around them. It's the local communities that they support as well. So that is probably my key driving factor for getting involved with Acorn. My track record shows that I've been involved in building highly scalable, advanced crowdfunding platforms, and I can bring that experience and those ideas to Acorn and, you know, push us forward and make sure that we're one step ahead and we're not starting from day zero.